Hello to all my fellow proud Indians and welcome back to Soldiers of India. Today is 15th of January, which is celebrated as Army Day. We have a very special guest with us today who will be telling us about what does Army Day mean, what is the significance of this day, why is it celebrated on 15th of January, and a lot more.
इसके अलावा दो तीन इंटरेस्टिंग नॉन मिलिट्री बातें जो मैं आपको उनके बारे में शेयर करना चाहूंगा कि देखिए किस किस्म का कैरेक्टर था उनका कि हिज son who retired as an air marshal, which is equivalent to lieutenant general in the army from the Indian Air Force, was uh, became a prisoner of war as a squadron leader in the 1965 war.
Oh.
एंड उस वक्त पाकिस्तान के प्रेसिडेंट थे फील्ड मार्शल अयूब खान, who was junior to फील्ड मार्शल करियप्पा, but they were good friends. Because उस जमाने में 47 के पहले it was
तो
the
ये
same
था।
army.
हाँ।
तो जब फील्ड मार्शल अयूब खान को ये पता चला कि वन ऑफ द प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर, देयर वर सेवरल प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर, हमारे पास भी थे, उनके पास भी थे, वो होता ही है किसी भी वॉर में, तो उन्होंने फील्ड मार्शल करियप्पा को फोन करके बोला कि वी विल रिलीज योर सन, एंड ही सेड नो, यू विल नॉट रिलीज माय सन. He, every soldier there is my son who is a prisoner with you. He will be released when every other soldier, as per Geneva Convention and other things, are released. And indeed, that is what happened.
Wow.
Squadron leader Cariappa came back and later rose to the rank, as I said, of Air Marshal.
We have with us today Major General Sharabh Pachory, a Vishisht Seva Medal awardee and a very senior retired officer of the Indian Army. Sir is an infantry officer who put in 36 years of service before he retired in July 2018. As you know by now, infantry is the frontline combat arm of the Indian Army, which entails difficult service in very hostile terrain conditions. General Pachory has seen action on all fronts of his long service. He has served on the Siachin Glacier, the highest battlefield in the world, as well as taken numerous tours of duty in Kashmir in counter-terrorism operations. And apart from Siachin Glacier in Kashmir, Sir has also served in Ladakh, the northeast, and the Thar Desert of Rajasthan. Pachory Sir then went on to serve as an instructor at the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, as a captain. And later on, as a colonel, he was an instructor at the prestigious Defence Services Staff College in Wellington in Tamil Nadu. For his courage, dedication, and selfless service, General Pachory has been decorated 5 times throughout his career, including the Vishisht Seva Medal from the Honorable President of India.
Much, and firstly, a very happy Army Day to everybody who's listening, and others too. Again, I'll start on a little bit of a disparaging note that what happens is that within the army, we wish each other, veterans, serving soldiers, and others. But it is the Army Day of the Indian Army. So I would be so happy if, like we say, Happy Diwali, Happy Christmas, Eid Mubarak, and all those things, and a happy so and so day. If people would on आजकल तो सोशल मीडिया पे आपने देखा है कि वो हर डे के बन जाते हैं, वो व्हाट्सएप और ये और वो, तो मुझे बड़ी खुशी होगी अगर आर्मी वालों के अलावा भी लोग एक दूसरे को हैप्पी आर्मी डे बोले. ये मेरी एक बहुत, इट डजंट टेक मच. मैं कुछ आप लोगों से ज्यादा नहीं मांग रहा हूँ. दिस आई एम एड्रेसिंग टू whoever is watching this. Yes. So coming back to your question, the Army Day is celebrated again on 15th of January every year, and it is to salute the soldiers again who gave their lives for the nation, and those who may not have given their lives, but those who gave the best years of their lives to the army. And again, it has to do with the general and later Field Marshal Cariappa, uh, who was the first commander-in-chief of the Indian Army, and he took over from a British general who was Sir Francis Robert Roy Butcher, who was the last British CNC. Now, I would like to explain to my viewers that though we got independence in 1947, it wasn't that right the next day 15 अगस्त को हमें आज़ादी मिली और 16 अगस्त से हमारे इंडियन आर्मी के चीफ इंडियन नेवी एयरफोर्स वगैरह के हो गए. So this took time because the transition of power not only in the military but in every other field. आपको मालूम है Lord Mountbatten remained the Viceroy of India till Rajagopalachari took over from him later. So कई लोग आप समझते होंगे कि भाई why later? So General Cariappa became Chief of Army Staff, or then called the CNC, on 15th of January 1949. That is about a year and a half after we got our independence, and then he retired in 1953, which I said in the last program, on 14th of January. So he served an exact 3-year term, which is why that day is celebrated as Veterans Day. And the day that he took over as the first Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army is celebrated as the Army Day. I
Okay.
hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Yes. So, how is Army Day celebrated in India?
Uh, well, within the army units, army garrisons, army formations, army establishments, there are various functions peculiar to the army, including with troops in the officers' messes, parades, etc. But the most, I would say, the important ceremony or function is the Army Day Parade, which is held in Cariappa Stadium on in Delhi Cantonment on Parade Road. And I would request my civilian friends, particularly those of you who stay in New Delhi, to see that parade, because while a lot of you see the Republic Day parade, which happens 11 days later on 26th of January, many of the contingents are chosen, army contingents, from the Army Day parade. And for even in the Army Day parade, every year, contingents, marching contingents from different regiments are chosen based on various internal parameters of which I will not go into. But it's a fantastic parade. Not only is it a parade, it showcases some equipment, display of weapons, which civilians also can have a look at, and some kind of a demonstration of how an attack with tanks and helicopters and all live. I mean, so with actual helicopters and actual tanks.
Wow.
I have been part of this parade on a couple of occasions. Uh, Not part of a parade, as in I didn't take the parade, but in its organization and its other things. So that is something that is the sort of flagship event, as it were, uh, of the Army Day.
Yeah.
And I would earnestly, and this happens on Parade Road, which is in the heart of Delhi Cantonment, near Manik Shaw Center. If those of you who know Delhi, धौला कुआं के पास में है ये, तो आप जरूर जा करके मौका मिलने पर इस परेड को देखें. और कई दिनों तक इस परेड का रिहर्सल चलता है. तो वो परेड के एक्चुअल डे कई दफा एंट्री वगैरह का प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है. तो मैं तो यहाँ तक आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि rehearsal is as good as the actual parade. Go and watch it. You will have goosebumps.
Wow.
वो इतनी शानदार परेड होती है वो.
Hmm.
और जैसा मैंने कहा, परेड ही नहीं, उसके साथ कुछ और इवेंट भी होते हैं. इस साल
Wow.
जैसे कि वो लॉन्च ऑफ न्यू आर्मी यूनिफॉर्म वगैरह है. आई एम श्योर यू विल टॉक अबाउट इट लेटर.
Yes.
These are the this is the way we celebrate Army Day in the
Okay.
nation.
सर, इज द कुछ ऐसी इंफॉर्मेशन, कुछ बातें फील्ड मार्शल करियप्पा के बारे में जो आप चाहेंगे हमारे व्यूअर्स जानना जानना चाहिए?
Uh, Yes, indeed. I'm glad you asked me this, because he is indeed a legend in his own right, and one of the uh, uh, founding fathers of what the Indian Army is today. And I'll tell you some of his contributions alongside some interesting personal aspects. He was born in Kurg region in 1899, and he passed away at the ripe old age of 94 in I think 1996, was it? Yeah. There's certain firsts about Field Marshal Cariappa. Now, he was a general. Of course, a general is a 4-star general who's the chief of army staff, and a field marshal is a 5-star general. We have had only two in India so far. One is Field Marshal Manekshaw, Sam Manekshaw, and the other is Field Marshal Cariappa. And it would intrigue and surprise some of you to know that while Field Marshal Manekshaw was much junior to Field Marshal Cariappa, he became a field marshal earlier.
Oh.
71 वॉर के खत्म होने के एक साल बाद 73 जनवरी में फील्ड जनरल Manekshaw then who was given an extension of 6 months in his chief's tenure was conferred with the rank of field marshal, whereas Field Marshal Cariappa was given this rank in 1986, just a few years before his death.
Oh.
When the question was raised, and this was in fact सवाल ये भी उठा था कि क्या उनको भारत रत्न देना चाहिए. अब ये चीजें फिर वो पॉलिटिकल स्फीयर में आ जाती हैं, so I would not like to go into that aspect. So, but suffice it for our viewers to know that he was uh, he before becoming the chief of army staff, he was the army commander of Western Command. That time there used to be no Northern Command, which is now there. The entire area against Pakistan and China was looked after by one command, which was known as the Western Command. और उसके पहले वो Eastern Command में थे. And he took a very apart from having fought in the Second World War in the British Indian Army, Field Marshal Cariappa uh, played a stellar role in the 1947-48 war with Pakistan right after independence, and he was responsible for the recapture of Kargil, Zojila, and number of other places in the Ladakh region. And before he became chief, that is. और ये कमीशन हुए थे 2/88 कर्नाटक इन्फेंट्री में, और उसके बाद इनके कई रेजिमेंट्स बदले, बट फाइनली मैं उन डिटेल्स में, क्योंकि वो सिविलियन रीडर्स को शायद इंटरेस्ट ना करें, व्यूअर्स को, फाइनली वो राजपूत रेजिमेंट में 17 राजपूत एक बटालियन है, उसको उन्होंने कमांड किया. और मैं ये बताना चाहूंगा कि ही वाज द फर्स्ट इंडियन ऑफिसर टू बी अ सो ऑफ अ बटालियन. क्योंकि उसके पहले ये होता था कि सिर्फ ब्रिटिश ऑफिसर्स ही यूनिट कमांडर्स यानी बटालियन कमांडर्स या सीओज जिसको कहते हैं वो हो सकते थे. और ही वाज आल्सो द फर्स्ट इंडियन ऑफिसर टू डू द स्टाफ कॉलेज कोर्स इन क्वेटा. अनडिवाइडेड इंडिया में जो स्टाफ कॉलेज होता था वो क्वेटा में होता था, जो अभी भी वहां पर है, पाकिस्तान का स्टाफ कॉलेज. वी आवर ओन स्टाफ कॉलेज वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन वेलिंगटन इन नीलगिरीज इन कुनूर, नियर कुनूर. तो वो फर्स्ट इंडियन ऑफिसर थे जिन्होंने ये क्वेटा में स्टाफ कोर्स किया. और उन्होंने फिर इंपीरियल कॉलेज लंदन से, इंपीरियल डिफेंस कॉलेज से एक हायर कमांड इक्विवेलेंट कोर्स होता है, उसमें भी वो फर्स्ट ऑफिसर थे. ही वाज अ ब्रिलियंट ऑफिसर, और ही वाज डेकोरेटेड विद द ऑर्डर ऑफ द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर, also the Legion of Merit by the US President Harry Truman, and he was mentioned in dispatches. इसके अलावा दो तीन इंटरेस्टिंग नॉन मिलिट्री बातें जो मैं आपको उनके बारे में शेयर करना चाहूंगा कि देखिए किस किस्म का कैरेक्टर था उनका. कि हिज सन who retired as an air marshal, which is equal to lieutenant general in the army from the Indian Air Force, was uh, became a prisoner of war as a squadron leader in the 1965 war.
Oh.
एंड उस वक्त पाकिस्तान के प्रेसिडेंट थे फील्ड मार्शल अयूब खान, who was junior to फील्ड मार्शल करियप्पा, but they were good friends. Because उस जमाने में 47 के पहले it was
तो
the same army.
हाँ.
तो जब फील्ड मार्शल अयूब खान को ये पता चला कि वन ऑफ द प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर, देयर वर सेवरल प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर, हमारे पास भी थे, उनके पास भी थे, वो होता ही है किसी भी वॉर में. तो उन्होंने फील्ड मार्शल करियप्पा को फोन करके बोला कि वी विल रिलीज योर सन. एंड ही सेड नो, यू विल नॉट रिलीज माय सन. Every soldier there is my son who is a prisoner with you. He will be released when every other soldier, as per Geneva Convention and other things, are released. And indeed, that is what happened.
Wow.
Squadron leader Cariappa came back and later rose to the rank, as I said, of air marshal. And then some contributions of his were, during the British time, there was gross discrimination between British officers of the Indian Army and Indian officers. So he fought tooth and nail to stop this discrimination. This discrimination was in pay scale, in rations, in uniform, in so many other things. So Field Marshal Cariappa had this courage of conviction and the character to take it up with the government, and he's also responsible for the army being apolitical. That means, not having whether there's a government of this sarkar or that sarkar. the Army, Navy, and Air Force do the jobs. And he also opposed the reservation in the army for, uh, you know, people of a particular tribe or a caste
Hmm.
or a particular religion. He said everybody is equal. You will, as Jawans and or officers,
Hmm.
you will join based on your capability, merit, and qualification, etc., etc., etc.
Wow.
And so these are some of the things. And then, of course, he was involved with certain reorganization that took place. And most importantly, जिस तरीके से हमारे assets divide हुए जब इंडिया और पाकिस्तान का पार्टीशन हुआ, तो आर्मी भी हमारी डिवाइड हुई। अब कौन सा रेजिमेंट पाकिस्तान में जाएगा, कौन से ट्रुप्स पाकिस्तान में जाएंगे, क्या इक्विपमेंट जाएगा, यहाँ तक के जो स्टाफ कॉलेज की लाइब्रेरी थी क्वेटा में,
Hmm.
उसकी कौन सी बुक्स वहां रहेंगी, कौन सी बुक्स यहाँ आएंगी।
हाँ.
मतलब आप लोगों को ताजुब होगा कि
हाँ.
हर एक चीज का, और ना केवल मिलिट्री में, दिस डिवीजन
हाँ.
टुक प्लेस जस्ट फॉर द benefit of history buffs, as I am a history buff myself. uh, Everything, whether it was railways or it was any government thing,
Hmm.
हर चीज का तो जनरल दैट टाइम जनरल Cariappa played a stellar role in, and he was so fair and equitable,
Hmm.
जैसा कि आपको उनके सन की इस एनेक्डोट
Yes.
से पता लगता है कि तो उसमें उन्होंने एक बहुत बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट भूमिका निभाई थी। So this is about a few aspects about the field marshal, and
Wow. That's very
उसका,
interesting.
and of course Second World War में as part of the British Indian Army, he was and he was also after retirement our High Commissioner in Australia and New Zealand for 3 years,
अच्छा.
I think till 1956. So the Indian government did recognize his contributions, and
Yes. Okay, sir. Lastly, would you like to share something about, the new army uniform that is going to be revealed today, on Army Day?
uh, yes, certainly. This has been making the headlines lately, and this is known as a digital camouflage uniform. Now, before I get into that, मैं अपने व्यूअर्स को बताना चाहूंगा कि आप लोग आर्मी या दूसरे सर्विसेज के लोगों को हमेशा दो तीन किस्म के यूनिफॉर्म्स में देखते हैं। जैसे कि हमारी आर्मी की ऑलिव ग्रीन यूनिफॉर्म होती है।
Hmm.
व्हेन यू आर पोस्टेड टू अ फील्ड पीस स्टेशन, जैसे कि लेट्स से न्यू दिल्ली
Hmm.
or even Mumbai or elsewhere, you wear the normal olive green uniform, except when you are on training, when you wear what is known as the camouflage pattern uniform. उसको
Okay.
हम लोग camo dress and in our own
Hmm.
jargon कहते हैं। तो ये जो पहली बात तो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि ये यूनिफॉर्म जो चेंज हुई है, ये सिर्फ कैमोफ्लेज यूनिफॉर्म चेंज हुई है। नॉर्मल यूनिफॉर्म आर्मी की अभी भी वही है, दैट इज
अच्छा.
ऑलिव ग्रीन जी। तो और इसका इसका एक डिजिटल पैटर्न है जो कि माइक्रो एंड मैक्रो पैटर्न्स को कंबाइन करके एक पिक्सेलेटेड लुक देता है। नाउ यू मे आस्क व्हाई, व्हाट वाज द नीड। तो नीड उसकी ये थी कि पहले तो ये दिस इज इन इन कंफॉर्मिटी विद द कंटेम्पररी पैटर्न्स इन ऑल मॉडर्न आर्मीज। नाउ दिस डिजिटली डिजाइन्ड यूनिफॉर्म हैज टू मेजर एडवांटेजेस। पहला तो ये है कि ये लॉन्गर डिस्टेंस से कैमोफ्लेज करता है। कैमोफ्लेज वर्ड जो लोग नहीं समझते हैं उनके लिए मैं बहुत संक्षिप्त में बताना चाहूंगा कि जिस तरीके की टेरेन में, जिस तरीके की एनवायरनमेंट में आप ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, आपको उससे मर्ज करना होता है। नहीं तो यू स्टैंड आउट लाइक अ सोर थंब एंड यू कैन बी शॉट एट, और चाहे इंसान हो, चाहे गाड़ी हो, चाहे
Hmm.
हेडक्वार्टर्स हो, बिल्डिंग्स
Hmm.
हो, इंस्टॉलेशन हो,
Hmm.
एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी कैमोफ्लेज।
Hmm.
So this uniform uh, gives the soldier an advantage in that, uh, you know, at a longer distance also he is camouflaged। जैसे कि समझ लीजिए वो जंगल्स में ऑपरेट कर रहा है, तो वो
Hmm.
जंगल में अगर उसको दुश्मन के बंकर में जाना है तो बहुत नजदीक जा करके, अगर उसको, मैं आपको बहुत सिंपल तरीके से समझा रहा
Hmm.
हूँ। आई
Hmm.
एम एक्चुअली, टू पुट इट इन इंग्लिश, being too simplistic about the whole thing,
Hmm.
it's not so cut and dried,
Hmm.
but it gives an advantage कि आप दूर से अपना काम कर सकते हैं, and therefore it enhances the combat or the battlefield efficiency of a soldier। The second advantage that it gives is that this uniform is weather resistant to a large extent. To a large extent, you know that the Indian Army operates in the coldest of climates of up to minus 45 to 50 degrees in Siachin Glacier, to 50 and 49 degree in Rajasthan in the Thar Desert, and in between in the monsoons in the jungles, etc. तो हर किस्म के क्लाइमेट में और हर किस्म के वेदर में ये जो नई यूनिफॉर्म इन्होंने अभी आज की तारीख में इंट्रोड्यूस करी है, दिस विल सर्व, एंड ऑल्सो इट इज लाइटर। सेकेंडली इसके ट्यूनिक को टक इन नहीं करना पड़ता है, शर्ट को हम लोग ट्यूनिक कहते हैं ट्राउजर के अंदर, ये बाहर रखता है। और ये अभी आर्मी डे की परेड में शोकेस भी होगी। इट्स लाइटर, और लाइटर इसलिए जरूरी है, देखिए मैं अपने व्यूअर्स को बताना चाहूंगा कि जब हम लोग चलते हैं, चाहे वो ऑफिसर हो चाहे जवान हो, we carry a lot of weight on our backs because हमारी पूरी न केवल हथियार और एमिनिशन बल्कि when for example I went up to the Siachin Glacier post, my entire 6 months worth of clothing, खाना पीना तो खैर वहाँ बनता था, पर जैसे स्टोव है, ये है, वो है, everything is on your back, आपका बिस्तरा, आपकी आपकी कई वर्दियां, जूते, ये वो. So weight matters. Every gram, every extra gram that you carry, particularly in rarefied environment जहाँ ऑक्सीजन कम होती है, हीट या डेजर्ट में जहाँ आदमी जल्दी थकता है, पसीना आता है, and things like that.
Yes.
So being lighter is a great advantage. और जो आखिरी पॉइंट में इस यूनिफॉर्म के बारे में बोलना चाहूंगा कि आजकल ये हुआ है कि बहुत सी यूनिफॉर्म फोर्सेस के पास सिमिलर पैटर्न की कैमोफ्लेज ड्रेस हो गई है. आपने देखा होगा, आप एयरपोर्ट पे जब फ्लाई करते हैं तो जो
हाँ.
सीआईएसएफ के खड़े रहते हैं वो भी वही ड्रेस पहनते हैं.
हाँ.
कई पुलिस की स्पेशल फोर्सेस भी वही ड्रेस पहनती हैं,
Hmm.
बीएसएफ, सीआरपीएफ.
Yes.
तो उनसे थोड़ा सा ये डिस्टिंग्विश भी हो जाएंगे. In due course of time they may also come up with their own patterns of uniform. So and this dress has been designed by NIFT, that is the
Yes.
National Institute of
Institute
Fashion
of Fashion
Technology, in
Technology.
partnership with the Indian Army.
So this is
And
a Make in India initiative as well.
yeah,
Made in India.
that is वो जी हाँ, आत्मनिर्भरता वाली जो बात है. I forgot that point. I'm glad you added that. And so it basically avoids better concealment and camouflage. It is lighter and it makes battle efficiency of a soldier more robust and effective. And of course, it is more weather resistant than the present
Original
camouflage. And but you must understand that this uniform will be worn in operations or in training. उसको पहन के शहर में नहीं घूमता है बंदा. In your marine, आपका मुंबई में क्या है वो समुद्र के साथ में जो what is that called?
Marine
Yeah,
Drive.
so Marine Drive, yeah. So of course he can. There's no embargo against it. A serving soldier, retired people like me do not wear uniform except on some very special occasions, which is laid down. So this is about the digital camouflage pattern, which combines, as I said, micro and macro patterns and makes a pixelated.
Okay.
Uniform.
Again, thank you so much, sir, for telling us so many interesting things that we had no idea about before today's show. And this just turned out to be such a fun, interactive, informative video. I'm waiting for all my viewers to watch this. And it was such an honor and pleasure to talk to you today. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Mishika. And as I said right at the beginning, and I cannot say it often enough, you are doing a fantastic job rendering yeoman service to the cause of serving and veteran soldiers like me. I call myself soldier for life. In fact, that's my Twitter handle as well. Because as you said at the beginning, once a soldier, always a soldier. And grateful to you for the kind of work you're doing. I wish you all the very best. And to all my viewers, a happy Army Day again. And as I said at the beginning, एक दूसरे को हैप्पी आर्मी डे, आर्मी के बाहर भी बोले आप लोग, तो इट विल बी अ ग्रेट थिंग. जय हिंद. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Jai Hind, sir. Thank you, sir. Here's wishing all of India a very happy Army Day. Jai Hind.